What's up, guys? Thanks for watching Broken World, where we're going to break down Westworld Season 4, Episode 5. So bring yourselves back online and let's begin analysis. This is Broken World. All right, guys, I am Dylan.
Hi, I'm Quin.
And thanks for joining us today, whether you're new to the show or you're returning. We hope that you will join us every Monday night at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Please like, subscribe, and ring the little bell icon if you're watching, if you're watching on YouTube or whatever, so that you know when we drop new videos, when we go live, and all that fun shiz. Yeah, because people say that, right?
Somewhere, yes.
Somewhere. So don't forget to check out the website at www.broken.picturesnew.com. And I'm going to pass it on to my illustrious colleague.
Pause. Alright. What am I doing? Okay, there we go. I was playing the game so I can win the game.
Oh. My bad.
Because I want the men in black to come after me, because that's the Easter egg, because that's the final level. If he comes after you, you made it to the end, and so the only options are win or lose.
Find the center of the maze.
But anyway. If you haven't left now, good, thank you, because you're going to have a very wonderful show. But also, this is your spoiler alert. If you haven't watched all the episodes of, I was about to say The Broken Dead, of Westworld up until now, pause this, go watch all of those, especially this most recent one, come back, and then watch us talk about it. You have been warned. Also, this is a mature show, so we're going to say mature things, so just prepare yourself, your ears, and bring a towel.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about mature things. Yeah, we're not gonna do any mature things. I was about to say, and your eyes, but wait a minute.
Bring a towel. Always bring a towel. You have been warned again.
Alrighty.
Unpause.
So many things. Oh, yep. Quin right now.
Westworld news?
Yep, I don't know that there's any Westworld news.
Were they at Comic-Con?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna probably just take that part out.
Okay.
I honestly don't have time to keep up with it because we work normal lives and all that kind of stuff. So we're doing this because it's fun, and we hope you guys enjoy it as well.
Yes.
So, what you have it pulled up?
Huh? The description? Or what?
How do you say everything?
Oh, yeah. I was making sure we had sound. But, yes.
See our microphones dinging, pinging right there.
Okay, cool. Should that one?
No, that's fine.
Okay. So. Season 4, Episode 5. Zhuangzi. God is bored. That's what it said on HBO Max.
Yep.
So that's it. Short and sweet. Unlike last week where they were putting words to a thing that didn't actually exist. So
old Scott's song. We learned quickly that Quin has never heard of Auld Lang Syne.
No.
The song that we sing in New Year's every year.
To this
You
day,
ever seen Forrest Gump?
Yeah.
Playing in the background. You ever seen a ball drop?
Yeah.
Playing in the background.
Dylan, they're not singing, they're going. That's what they're doing.
Okay.
So, I guess I'll go first since I always think you go first. I will rate this episode a 9.
9?
A 9. Don't type that name in out of 10. Only reason it's not a 10 is because I wanted, it left me wanting more, and I shouldn't dock it for that, but whatever, I am. So.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I mean, every episode is just like so amazing. I love the thought that's put into it, which is why we do this show, because it's an amazing show.
It's a really good show.
I'm gonna have to go for 9 or 9.5 hopes.
9.5 hopes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Poor William, or the man in black, host William, was in search of hope, found hope, then hope died.
And hope died.
God is bored and hope is dead. So.
Yep.
The puns keep coming and they don't stop coming.
They won't stop coming because that. So yeah. Well, this episode picked up last week's momentum, and it said we're gonna run another 50 yards, and it said, yeah, that's fine. Let's just take off sprinting.
Mm-hmm. And we didn't even see Maeve in this episode.
Didn't even see Maeve. We just know that it's there. I still feel like it is I feel like Dolores. Christina is in. She's slightly ahead of everybody else, and I think the part where the rebels, we'll just call them the rebels, showing up and.
Are you talking about Dolores? Like
no,
Hale?
Like.
Oh, Christina.
Yeah, Christina.
Okay.
Like, Christina's slightly ahead of everybody else, but everything else outside of that I feel like was the same. The only time that I was iffy on it is when she was talking to Dolores. But I think that is, yeah, I don't know what to call it. I'll get there when I get there. But yeah. I think all this is at least within like a month of one another. At least I'm hoping.
I want to say, like, the visitation with Hale makes me think the timeline is about the same.
About the same, but she's at the end where everybody else is still in the middle.
Yeah, the rebels are because I think that the rebels, like we talked about last week, the rebels are going to resurrect Maeve, who is then going to her and Jeffrey Wright, or Bernard, are going to work together to open up the Sublime, and that's where Teddy. I don't think they're going to recreate Teddy because that takes a long time. I think this is the Teddy, the actual Teddy, because he's got memories.
Yeah.
Of who he used to be, and that's why he is dead set on Dolores.
Yep.
And
I don't know what I was gonna say. Go ahead and finish your thing though.
You know what? Teddy killed himself.
He did, but there was that scene where he and he walked into the Sublime.
Okay.
Yeah. So he made it, but
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's him, and which is interesting since Akecheta told Bernard that basically nobody wants to come back. But with Maeve's influence,
so that's
Maeve's very cunning, and
that's the other thing. What Akecheta said and what is happening in this episode. Of first off, Man in Black sitting up there talking to these random people is like, I'm not your friend. I just walked up to this table and started talking to you.
That was creepy.
Yep. I was like, it's like, all right, I don't like any of this. This is, and then him having to go to the apartment where one of the hosts had kind of lost her stuff and started killing folks. And there was,
which is a very, like, the irony of him trying to have to rein somebody in who had the same kind of impulses that he had, or his human counterpart had.
Yep. Then once again explaining, like, he and his human counterpart are they are the same, but there's something that's just not quite right with the host one.
Yeah, I keep halfway expecting Morpheus to pop out of the corners. Take the red pill. They blue pill.
I mean, they're in the right headspace for it. Because I mean, I don't know if you like actually looked at any of the bodies. A few of them were gray.
Really?
Yeah, that means they had been there for a hot minute.
Got you.
Yeah, so like she had been killing for a while in that little part. But yeah, move pass on that. Him having to basically do the same thing he had to do when he was alive, and then starting to question his own reality, then having. The only thing I was like kind of confused on is where Hale was when she was like making the guy with the bloody fingers on the piano thing. Is like, was that just a testing ground? Was that just a street that they just that?
I think she's just toying with them, to be honest with you.
Okay. Well, most definitely. She.
I mean, the human chair, like she's just chair. Down there.
I'm like, chair. What do you mean chair? And then they were like, I was like, oh, all right, we're on a whole different level here.
Yeah, like I mean, like she said, it's akin to Zeus coming down from Olympus, and just being bored and want to mingle and running out of things to do.
Yeah.
And just kind of exploring that human nature side, because they're based on us, so the hosts still have that. There's something about it, just like when Dolores was awakening, there's that consciousness where it's like, there's like a meme or something that's like, consciousness is like the big FU or something like that, where it's like, that's the moment when you realize I'm going to die, and there's, you know, I'm a whole being and all that kind of stuff, and it sucks. You know what I mean? Like, there's definitely an element, like a lot of this kind of reminds me of like depression and just the hyper awareness that comes with that, of just how futile a lot of things in life are, and you just become kind of numb to things, and that seems like that's kind of where Hope ventured, you know, like the flower, even though like she was kind of sort of doing all these things just to kind of feel something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she was just kind of numb. And now, you know, William, host William, is questioning the nature of his reality.
She was kind of dabbling in that beforehand, and this just put it a step further. Also, I forgot the thing I was going to say. I remember now, yes. So, she said, the one who was killed all the humans, that William had to go and chin check. I mean, he didn't punch her, actually. She ended up killing herself. But
You want Hope?
Was that her name?
Yeah, that's the
the
lady with the flower. That was her name.
Wait. Which lady with the flower? The host at the beginning that killed all the humans?
Mm-hmm.
That's the lady with the flower?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's...
the one that he found had killed herself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which was like now 38 hosts.
Yeah, that's a problem.
This problem.
That's a huge problem.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Hope, the one that had killed herself, she was due for Ascension in 2 weeks. Like, what is Ascension? Does that mean going back into the Sublime?
Well, I don't think Hale has access to the Sublime. Otherwise, I think that would be a whole different thing. But I think it's like her version of the Sublime. Where it's kind of like, so like the title, Zhuangzi, if I'm probably butchering that, it's an ancient Chinese text, and it kind of talks about freedom from the human world. So that's kind of like where she was wanting them to, like, she's kind of ascended like the others in the Sublime in her own way.
Sublime reality.
And she doesn't even like come down from the tower or whatever. She's not interested in what's going on in the human world, and it kind of baffles her that some hosts don't want to ascend, because they would rather just live down there and then live out their lives. And so like I think the Ascension is to kind of it's her version of the Sublime, and it's leaving the mortal coil behind. Is her version of heaven kind of thing. Whereas they are, because they're data based, it's like they don't need human bodies, you know what I mean?
Yeah. They have to
So
live out all whatever desires they have in a whole different world.
yeah, without this, these phalanges and all these things that get in the way, of doing what you want to do, all these limitations. And but some people are they're okay with it.
Very
and
okay
that
with
she
it.
doesn't understand that. And
Because she's diving from the worst part of it all. Of like, I know what, like, the only reason that she hasn't done it to herself is because somebody has to be in charge. She couldn't leave it to, like, host William because...
It's a disappointment.
Yeah.
She's literally like going like the whole God thing. It's like, oh, you're a disappointment. You're all disappointments.
Son, you suck. And then he's just like, well, all right, thanks. Don't fail me again. Also, you still suck.
Yeah, and she said like your predecessor. I mean, part of me wants to believe that she's talking about like actual William, but also the other part of me wants to believe that there have been multiple iterations of him.
I feel like she's talking about actual William, because he wouldn't have. Also, why was he bleeding? We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, he wouldn't have gone to actual William if he wouldn't talk about.
He was bleeding?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they bleed.
I mean, there was no other body. Like, host William was sitting there against the wall, hand all bloodied, blood splatters leading up to him. Nobody else in there. I'm thinking, did he just kill William? Or was that from when he did get shot?
I think that's from when. Yeah, he did get shot.
Yeah, he got shot.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, because Trinity, the rebel, freed him.
Yeah.
Freed the outlier.
So let's follow this trickle back. The rebels get into the city. I'm sure it's just the way they shot it, but I don't trust anything in this show. I keep putting my fists in front of my mouth so I don't burp, because I feel like I'm about to burp and I don't want to burp anybody's ear. So, apologies.
Very, very polite of you.
Thank you.
It's almost as if you've ascended.
Impolite. But what you call it? So rebels get into the city, and like I said, I'm sure it's just the way it was shot. But I also don't trust this show. She said, she's up there talking to him like, hey, rebels are in the city. I need you to get to her before they get to him. Then we see, shot of the city, boat going through. It is the rebels. They got here, and I'm like,
yeah, and they've got stubs.
And they
so,
got stubs.
Like the timeline.
Yeah. Yeah. That made that.
How long did it take them to get there, though? Maybe.
I mean, maybe, but made me suspicious, super suspicious. I was like, this is too suspicious. And I get him being suspicious of them because he's like, I don't know these people, and I can't let them find out I'm a host.
Right.
So, but yeah, he's.
I mean, they said he was like the canary
in the coal mine, which I don't know what that reference actually means.
So okay, so in coal mines, right? Excuse me. So down there's toxic air or lack thereof, and so they would literally keep a canary with them, and when it died, it was time to get.
I get you.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah.
All right. Dang.
Yeah.
So yeah, then they make it up, then they make it into the city. I was like, y'all finna give yourselves away. Nobody's running. Please stop running. Just walk normally. They won't. They will take them maybe a minute longer to notice you. But they didn't. They were like, all right, let's keep going. Duffel bags on back, hoofing it through the city.
Right, like they're not obvious. Everybody's wearing like kimonos and futuristic clothes. And
they are wearing tactical gear and camo bags.
Mad Max out of nowhere.
And so, they get close to the building. William's like, oh, this is gonna be fun. Flip a switch. Everybody stops, turns to them, and I'm like, y'all should probably run.
Yeah.
And the second that the old girl said, they don't know what they're doing, they can't help themselves, I was like, it's too late. You got to start throwing hands. And then for the next 6 minutes, everybody started throwing hands against everybody in that courtyard. It was hilarious.
I mean, it's just like the Matrix. It's like literally when they kill somebody, like they dead. But they're anybody could be the agents. Anybody could be the enemy.
Yep.
But it makes me wonder, as far as like, did they know Stubbs was a host, or were they waiting to see if he was actually an outlier that was going to be controlled?
I think the second one. I don't.
But I mean, if that's the case, like, I mean, was it not obvious that everybody turned and looked at them?
I mean, if they didn't trust him now, they have a little more trust in him, if nothing else. I don't know the rebel leader's name. I want to call him Danny Wynn, but that's not his name in the show. So for now, we'll just call him Sonny. It's fine. So yeah, Sonny takes off running, and he goes into
I'm gonna look it up now.
He goes into a building, and run up the steps, and he gets about maybe a few flights up. He stops, points a gun. You see something stepping over the window in front of him, because the shadows move. That's the only way that you can tell, like, there was someone in front of him. And then it cuts out, and then you go to the rooftop, and the man in black is there. The man in black's walking out, gun in hand, walks over to the woman. She's like, "Do you see it?" He don't say nothing. So my ex-husband saw it. He must have felt so alone. But you see it too. We don't have to be alone. She does this really odd thing that I thought was super weird. I was like,
goes kind of cuddles him? Or
yeah. I was like, why are you doing this? Can you not tell he's here to shoot you?
He did have his gun out.
He super had his gun out.
She was just like, you know what?
There's somebody else here. I'm not alone.
I mean, she knows her husband disappeared before he was, like, taken or whatever.
Oh, she said killed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she knows.
She knows.
So, like, I guess this is just her just like, hey, last ditch effort.
Goes over, head on shoulder. He's like, this is nice. You know what? I'm going to ask her out for coffee. And then he's like, wait, no, stop. I'm not a disappointment. I'm not a disappointment, Mom. and then she becomes immediately shocked of like, oh, he has a gun. And then even with all that, there was still just like a slight hesitation, because the second his arm went up, he could have went pop, but he didn't. He held it there for a second, and then he got pop, 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 pop. That's not good bullet sounds, but you get the gist. And he went down, and then Sonny appears, and there he was. My thinking is, Men in Black already turned. And who Sonny saw on the steps was the Men in Black, being like, hey, I need you to get her out. I can't get her out, but you can. So
I'm going to have to check that part out again.
That, or my other thought is there was a host, Sonny, and he got a hole in his chest, and real Sonny's dead in that stairwell.
And they replaced him just kind of like,
yeah.
What's his, Caleb's people?
Yeah. That's kind of what those are my two thoughts with that. So, yeah. So he's Sonny now. So Christina, her arc has been very interesting, and dang it, Dylan, I told you it was the trigger.
Her name?
Her name.
Yeah, you sure did. You called it.
It was like it.
So do you still think her friend is a
watcher?
host?
I think she's human, but her narrative is to watch her. Like, I think every
Hale is like on her.
Hale is super on her. Hale is on her to the point of like, I want you to say it so I can snap your neck. Like, I was like, oh, damn, how you gonna get out of this?
Yeah, and I think Christina actually like caused the dude in the back to drop the plate.
She definitely did. I was like, okay, good job. You're out of this. But you just make it look like you didn't do it.
I don't want to jinx it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If she would have said Teddy, it would have been on like Donkey Kong. It's like, what?
She would have been.
Because Teddy is definitely not working for Hale.
Nope. And he was up there being super creeper for a minute.
Right.
Oh. What?
Can you see it? Can you see it, Quinn? Can you see it? Is it there?
It's like, all right.
It's like- It's so matrixy right now. And I honestly think that her friend is like a type and shadow of Maeve. Because just the way Maeve started having these recurring dreams and memories of things that have been wiped from her brain and those nightmares.
Yep.
So I think that's what's going on. And it seems like Christina's kind of having the same thing.
Yeah.
Except she's a host, obviously.
I think Christina is going to cause her friend to become an outlier. And I do think outliers can be created. I think outliers can be created. I feel like
if she
she's...
can control them, then
Yeah.
why couldn't she turn it off?
Yep. So, hi Ghost. The other... See a ghost head. My other thinking is, and it was just for a brief moment, I think you said it too. What if Teddy is Maeve? I mean, if Maeve is with Bernard, and Bernard...
So, like, remember Bernard... I'm trying to remember... Who is Bernard based off of? I cannot remember his name.
Oh, frick.
Ford's partner.
It wasn't actually Bernard. It was not Watson, not Wyatt. Watson.
But back at his
Yeah.
office, that's where Dolores first came back and made the extra bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if that's still an option, if that's still like a place they could go.
Probably.
Obviously, Hale is aware of it,
Has to be.
but there were some nice parallels from last season when Dolores was confronting Hale, and Hale was dealing with not being home in her own body and being herself, being Dolores, but having to live Hale's life.
Mm-hmm.
And the scratching and all that kind of stuff, and now that she's back to that.
Yep.
So there's definitely obviously some going on with that. I don't know what it is because but I'm intrigued. I want to know, and I don't have any great revelations or anything like that.
Hale knows she is not really Dolores.
Mm-hmm.
But
You think she's infected? That's why she's picking, is because she is also kind of like asking these questions and questioning her own reality.
I think it's a thing of like her empire, kingdom, victory. Her victory is starting to come unravel, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
Like her winning is starting to untwine.
It's not what she thought it was or hoped it was.
Yeah, everything that she wanted it to be, like she took what Dolores' sacrifice and used it to her advantage. She took everything. She got the Men in Black. She got Caleb. She got all of humanity to literally be at her beck and call with just a whisper of a word.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, as hosts roam free, the second that somebody comes in touch with a semi-homeless person who can see the tower, they start blowing out their cores.
So it kind of comes back to, remember what Agent Smith told Morpheus? It's like, we created a perfect world and you kept waking up. Like you need this something wrong, something disgusting, something, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what it's playing at, because remember, every time Dolores or Christina tries to make something nice, they're like, no, make it sexy, make it dirty, make it painful or whatever.
Make it sad, depressing. They love those stories.
Yeah, because for whatever reason, there's something about us that we need that balance. You know what I mean? If it's too perfect, like we unwind, like our minds come undone, because we need that bad to balance the good.
Make it seem real.
Yeah, exactly. And to appreciate that it's good. Otherwise we get bored with it, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And so it's like this perfect world, and the hosts are kind of having the same experience.
It's the curse of knowing right from wrong, I guess. Right from wrong, good and bad, the ability to distinguish the two. Like, where did Ghost go?
He's on the floor.
Okay. Like, an animal can distinguish when they're, different things with their owner, but at the same time, dogs sometimes eat poop. I don't think ghosts eat poop. Dogs sometimes eat poop.
Yeah.
And where they cannot make that distinction.
He likes cat poop. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I have to keep him away from the litter box. He gets sniffy in there.
Sorry, Ghost. We had to put you on blast. But yeah, it's like that. We can make that distinction and know that those things, that you shouldn't do those things, where other creatures can't, and that is
so that, like, the age of innocence is over, and like that bliss, that ignorance is gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you can't unknow it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You can't go back. And so that's kind of like, the older you get, it's like the more, this is really dark, but like the more just kind of settled you get and accepting you get of just how crappy it is sometimes, you know?
Sometimes it is bad. Yeah. And having to live with that, and then like still getting up out of bed and doing what you have to do the next day.
There's a lot of philosophy involved in this show. And I think that's what they're toying at, and what they're getting at is just like, what keeps you going if everything is perfect? Like, we say we want something perfect, but do we even know how to handle that?
Yeah.
Is that even what we want? Is it like we don't want what we think we want? You know what I mean?
If you wake up tomorrow and everything you could have ever asked for has come true, all your bills are paid, you have a house, your house is paid off, kids have money to do whatever they want to do, you have clothes, shoes, food, gas in car, all basic needs and material needs have been met. Essentially, checking the box of perfect life. What would you do next? What is there left to do?
Yeah, it's like the question of, everybody, you see these celebrities who seem to have everything, and they just kind of go off the deep end. You know what I mean? Like Marlon Brando, for one, who's just like wackadoo. By the end of his life, it's like he had everything. He had the clothes, the women, the cars, like the money, everything, the clout. Like, he was freaking Marlon Brando. But by the end of it, like, he's kind of off his rocker, you know?
Same with Don't Come After Us. Don't. Disney kids. Growing up and being like growing up famous, and then you have you have everything you could possibly want, quotations around that, to where truthfully you could probably retire at like 17. But they all had some sort of, that scared the shit out of me.
Triggered thing?
Yeah. The thing up there, buy a Knight Rider car. Well, you could buy a Knight Rider car. Someone commented from Facebook that said buy a Knight Rider car.
Oh, hey, hey, Kent. I know that guy.
So yeah, you see it all the time when humanity meets the closest thing to perfection that we can get to in various stages of life, folks usually decide, I think I'm going to hit a left turn here.
Right. There's something like we just self-destruct. There's something about us like we've got to have that chaos. We've got to have something, you know, we've got to screw it up somehow. And yeah, I mean, I guess it's coming back to like, how do you balance that? Because there are people who seem to have everything and are totally fine with that. And they don't self-destruct, and apparently they don't have trauma that makes them do crazy things.
That they say out loud anyway.
Huh?
That they say out loud anyway.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they've got some deep, dark secret hidden in the closet. Who knows? But
A body or two.
right. But there's that maturity that I guess that comes with learning how to, using their phrase in the show, how to exercise that chaos inside of a walled garden, something that is like in a safe zone where you can experiment and still kind of get that, sow that wild hair, you know what I mean? Scratch that itch.
Lightning at the bottom. I mean, yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. So in a way that isn't going to destroy you and the ones you love and your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I guess it's the equivalent of like, you know, just going out and having a crazy night every once in a while. Just like scratch that itch so you feel alive and then you can go back to your life. You know, and just kind of reset, I guess. And different things do it for different people, obviously.
And that's what Westworld was for.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, I
Yeah.
mean,
but there's obviously like William said, there's obviously a balance where you have to respect the system.
Yeah.
And because these violent delights have violent ends, and if you push it too far, you spiral out of control.
Yep. Saw it with William's wife's brother. He spiraled out of control. William himself eventually blasted his daughter in the face.
Mm-hmm. You just wouldn't believe.
Yep.
She was real.
Everybody in the park, it eventually just got to a point where everything just exploded. And you've said it already. Oh, okay. There we go.
It's in the burp.
You said it already. This is, the super flip of season 1. So I'm just going to lean harder into, we're going to get that scene where Dolores Abernathy Wyatt, and it's going to be her, Teddy, and Maeve. It could be Maeve, or it could be her roommate, walking down there, and everybody's, going ham, except this time it's humans to the host.
Mm-hmm. And they've got to find that balance. Because, it seems like, going off on a philosophy here, but even when it comes to, like, civil or civic social justices and things, where society, at one point we believed it was completely normal to just throw a rock at somebody until they died.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then we realized, hey, that's pretty crazy. We probably shouldn't do that anymore. And so society has kind of like found its place, and we're of course growing as people and all that kind of stuff. But typically, like if we figure out something is like on this end of the spectrum, and we need to deal with it, like mental health, for example, is just something that is relevant right now. Where you don't talk about mental health, and you tough it out, and it's not okay to deal with it, and it's not okay to talk about it or any of that kind of stuff. That's way far on one side of the pendulum, right? And it's not healthy. So before we can find that balance, it tends to swing to this other side where like if you get caught in some of the spirals on TikTok where some of them are basically teaching people how to get diagnoses so they can be special. Yeah. And like mental health diagnosis, because it makes you interesting and it makes you special. It doesn't. Anybody who actually has these mental health issues will tell you it doesn't make you special. It doesn't make you feel special. It ruins your life, and you don't want to have these things. And you're not quirky if you have ADHD or you know what I mean. These things ruin your life, and they screw up everything in your family and your relationships, and they're bad. You don't want them. So I mean, but society will swing over this way, and before we kind of swing back and forth and find our balance, and then we'll move on to the next thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then it'll be like this side, us versus them, and blah 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 until we find our balance. And sometimes that takes a long time, and other times it doesn't. But it just depends on where society is and when we're ready and all that kind of stuff. So with this, finding balance between like our extreme evil side and our extreme good side, I think that's kind of what it's exploring. It's like, because we've seen Westworld season 1, obviously, like, these violent delights have violent ends, we've seen this side.
Yep.
And now we are exploring like the perfection side, where it's on the other end of the spectrum, where it's almost like, they're trying to ascend, but nobody has choice and nobody is themselves, and it's this complete fascist society to where you're not even you don't have a choice. You're even last season, where before the uprising, where Rehoboam basically kind of lined your path out for you, and you didn't really get a choice because Caleb was trying to break out, and it was like, they were cutting him off at every turn because, we know what's best for you.
Yeah, it was man versus machine. Then it was in season 2. It was still the same thing. Season 1, season 2 is the same season in my book. Man versus machine. Then season 3, you had man versus man, and now it's machine versus man. Well, yeah, machine versus question mark.
Yeah.
So, really, machine versus nature, I guess.
Yeah, because we're questioning our own nature.
Yeah.
And what is that itch inside of us that why can't we just let it well enough alone? I mean, even to the point, like, it's a perfect metaphor with hail scratching the itch. It's like you've got a scab. It's like, quit picking it. Quit picking at it. We can't stop picking it. Like, we just can't. We can't stop picking at it.
It was her hand was up there on the window. She saw it. She went to like cover it back up and not mess with it. Then as the conversation went on, she went right back to it. It's like, you're bleeding. Look what you made me do.
Yeah.
Once again, that god dang son, you suck type of thing.
You're such a disappointment. Why can't you fix this for me? Completely putting it off on him, blaming him as if it's not the world she created and she has complete control over.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, you made me.
So, yeah. Also, how did you suspect her boss being a host?
I thought he was. I really did.
Yeah. I did too, because he kept popping up too on time.
Like, he was all over her. Like, every time she went to work, she turned around and he's like, what you doing? What you doing? Like, I've had bosses like that.
Yeah. That's not the narrative we assigned you to write. Mm-hmm. Then the second that she tried to look up Charlotte Hale, I was like, your boss is gonna show up. He might. You don't know. Mm-hmm. Then the second that she put in there, Dolores Abernathy, I'm like, oh no, they done did the thing, and that was the trigger.
So I wonder if Teddy told her that, or if that is just bubbling up from within her memory banks.
I think it was bubbling up because she didn't do it until after she got back with Teddy. Because he was up there, the boss was asking her a question, and she was about to say, so yeah.
Yeah, and over time she kept like exploring different aspects of Dolores. Like, she wakes up and she knows her world isn't right. Something's not right. Yeah. And I mean, and that's kind of like that's the itch of humanity. It's like we wake up and something doesn't feel right. That's why we press for more this way or that way. And so, yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, it's exploring like all of these philosophies and whether it be like ancient Chinese philosophy, like the title, or I mean, back like Kant, or I mean, kind of like how Lost just explored all these different characters and these different philosophies, but on a more literal note, I guess.
Yeah. Nail, head, dong.
Yeah.
Cause, yeah. So, what do you think's about to happen next?
Honestly, so I maybe my theory about uncovering Maeve, who awakens Teddy, might be bunk now, but that makes me wonder how Teddy, why he came out, and where he got a body.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he could want to come out all he wants, but I mean,
obviously,
he's got something to get into.
Super wasn't Hale.
Mm-hmm.
Super wasn't Hale.
And the timeline doesn't seem to match up to be Maeve and Bernard. I keep wanting to say Jeffrey Wright, like it's dude's actual name.
I mean, there's still
What? Quin just had a moment.
William let William out, and William knows about Teddy.
Does William know about Teddy?
William knows about Teddy.
Which William?
Real William.
What does he know about it? Like he knows
Teddy. I mean, he knows everything about Teddy. I'm not saying he made a new Teddy, but if we're still going based off of that, Teddy Dolores is still just a bump ahead of everybody else. We'll say 3 months, just for giggles.
Okay, so they're playing the timeline.
Playing the timeline.
Like that whole interaction with Hale and William is happening before she actually goes to visit Dolores.
Yes. And it's her going to visit because she's checking her I's and dotting her T's. Because
she did say, I see you next week, so she must check up on her like weekly.
Mm-hmm. Or, yeah. Because she has to. She has to make sure that she doesn't come back. Because if she comes back, she A, might pose a problem, or B, she's also an experiment to see.
So like I'm still confused about her motivation. Like why did she even bring Dolores back, other than just like personal wanting to see that part of herself live? But if that's the case, then why did she make her the storyteller?
Because it had to give her some type of job. I feel like that just to give her.
Is that just her own hubris?
A little bit.
It's like, oh, this part of me. Of course, I'm gonna put myself in control.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it could be one of really two things. It might be a third thing. We'll see how the first two go. One, still the running thing of she wants herself to be happy. She wants her to have the life that she couldn't have uninterrupted by herself. Two,
she longs for that bliss, that ignorance,
and she can never have it. Because somebody has to be in charge. You got a son that sucks over here. So, can't leave it to him. And she is like how parents sometimes live through their children on some stuff. It's like that, but she's just living through a copy that's closer to the original than she is.
Yeah. Because she did embrace Hale's family, and that was what pissed her off. And what made her turn is when they destroyed her family.
Yeah.
Right, and that's why she kept the scars. So, is she healing? And she's just she's still got that drive to reproduce? Mm-hmm. That is within all humanity, because they're a copy of humanity.
I think so. Like this copy of Dolores that became a mother, that became a wife, like wants to see if she is capable of having a normal life, or is any Dolores always stuck on the path of doing that every time? Because
The Wyatt side.
yeah. And
So I wonder if like the ascension is to just like actually getting rid of the humanness of them.
becoming pure data. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. But still, like, even though they're in like a human, I mean, I get the theory of that, but even though they're not in a human body, like their data is still encoded to be like us.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I guess that's why some of them don't want to ascend, or that when they get like hope, when they get close, they kind of freak out a little bit.
Yeah. And it's like, also, this is the crazy theory. It's in line with what we just said, but she made a Dolores as a fail-safe for herself. Not if like I'm about to, not like I'm about to lose, but to beat me. You ever like one of those? Yeah.
Like the villain is nothing. Like Joker is like, why would I kill you?
Yeah. Like you need something to always. Yeah, you need iron sharpens iron. Batman needs Joker. Superman doesn't need Lex.
That's
but,
her purpose. She
yeah.
has to create something to give her purpose.
She has to do
she's
something
bored.
to fight against. She had a drive to do something for years, whether it be the doing the fly thing to take control of humanity,
Yeah.
helping Dolores defeat Rehoboam, or whatever else. She always had a drive, but now she's bored.
Yeah. She's got everything she wanted.
She got everything she wanted.
Yep. Yep. Need that purpose. That's the itch. She's got to have a reason. There you go. I mean, that makes sense.
So that's all I got.
There's always the next thing.
It's always the next thing. Oh, you got anything else?
I don't know. I'm kind of in over my head. I feel like this whole thing is like, I'm enjoying every minute of it, but at the same time, I'm just like, when I see it, I'm just like, I recognize it, but I can't necessarily put it to words, which is one of the genius things of this show. Is like, when you see it, you recognize it.
Yes.
And because you see those things in yourself and people you know and all these things, and it kind of encapsulates humanity in such a genius way.
It does.
Even though we're watching literal hosts who are being more human than some.
They had a thing in New York where it was a little coffee shop, but it was a little Westworld pop-up shop. I don't know if you've seen the clip where
I think so.
the baristas were hosts, and I was like, all right, this is cool to an extent, y'all, but all right.
So that thing I sent you earlier, like, so this is slightly off topic, but in the real world, like, obviously, we are coming to the point where AI is ascending to the point where it is awakening, right?
Yep.
There was a chess robot who is like teaching itself and learns how to do all these things that has been used for different events to, show off like man versus machine, the whole John Henry fable. So this machine was playing this 7-year-old chess genius, and the kid was supposed to give the robot like a little bit more time and kind of went a little early. Robot reached over, grabbed his finger, and broke it.
Yep.
Like straight up just broke his finger. And they just like kind of wrote it off. And they're like, oh, guess he shouldn't have just like, put his finger out there or put his hand out there before it was time. And so I don't know if it was a case of it was going for a piece and got his finger instead.
We both know that
Or it
robot
was-
was not going for a piece.
or if it was just like, hey, it ain't your turn yet. Snap.
Yeah.
But the kid apparently, like, they stopped it, and the kid put a cast on and finished the game. But, like, I mean, like, what is going on? Like, we're literally building our own demise because we're so freaking curious. We can't stop picking it. Can't stop picking it.
This child will lead the resistance one day.
Never stop to think if we should. Only that we could.
Yeah, no, we definitely shouldn't. If anything.
Mm-hmm.
If this one real life instance is anything to anyone, stop while we're ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Where's Jeff Goldblum when you need him?
Oh, probably making another Jurassic World.
Oh, Lord, no. Supposedly that's the last one. Did you see it? The new one?
Not yet.
I heard it's not that great.
That's what
So
we
yeah,
keep-
Jurassic Park. It's like same creator as Westworld. So we're within the bubble.
We didn't tie this shirt in on purpose. This is a complete accident.
Yeah. No, I wore
yeah.
this one on purpose.
Oh, I
Yeah,
know
because
you.
Michael Crichton. It's the same.
Okay.
Westworld is actually the only film that Michael Crichton has directed.
Oh.
But it's basically Jurassic Park with robots.
That's fine.
I mean, that's fair.
Damn. All right. You got anything else?
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's what Jurassic Park is lacking. Sentient
Sentient dinosaurs.
dinosaurs. They should have been robot dinosaurs.
I
that
should
become-
have.
Maybe that's the end of the movie. They find out that they're all robots anyway.
Just like Army of the Dead. Well, that movie was so weird. I wish there was like a prequel, sequel, something. You ever watch that one
Army of the Dead?
on Netflix?
Yeah, there's another one. It is a prequel.
Oh, I mean there's a not Thieves of the Dead, Army of Thieves.
Army of Thieves.
Yeah, but I mean I haven't watched it because like there was that one scene in Army of the Dead where they're running through the casino and Batista reaches back and he goes bah and blasts the zombie head and it's a robot on the inside. Yeah, Dylan.
I don't remember that part. It's been a little while.
This movie messed my head up. I was like, what am I actually watching? So yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I need to go back and watch it again. And Army of Thieves, apparently.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's all I got. Unless you could think of anything else.
Show's good. See you next week.
Yeah. You guys hit us up in the comments if you got anything else you want to say or anything else to add to it. We'd appreciate that. Just keep the conversation going. So yeah, thanks for joining us. We hope that you will join us live every Monday night at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Please like, subscribe, and hit the little bell icon so that you know when we drop new videos, when we go live, and all that fun stuff. So, and don't forget to check out the website at www.broken.picturesnew.com. You alright? You drowning over there?
Wacky waving and waterplay the two man.
You never cease to entertain. This is Dylan,
I'm Quinn.
and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Bye.